Hey, welcome. Today we're talking about how to prevent fibroids from growing during pregnancy. I'm your holistic OBGYN, Dr. P, and it's a pleasure to talk to you about this and more. So come on, let's talk today. Come on in. So we're going to talk about a few things, but here are a few highlights. We'll be talking about why fibroids may grow in pregnancy. We'll talk about what to eat and what not to eat, so you can decrease the likelihood of fibroids growing in your pregnancy. We'll talk about lifestyle changes that you can implement today to help with your hormonal state and likelihood of fibroid growth. And I'd love to throw in some top supplements that you can take. And if you hang out till the end of the video, I'll be sure to offer you a free gift today that will help you on your journey with your fibroids and helping to decrease them. All right, so let's talk about fibroids. We know that fibroids are non-cancerous growths that usually develop somewhere inside of your uterus. We know that they're very common and that if you live to 50 to 70 years of age, that the likelihood of you having them is as high as 80%. And so they're very common. We know this. What we don't know enough of, I would say, is what really truly causes them and how do we prevent them. What we do know is how to manage them. We know this quite well, and so we're going to dive into how to impact them in such a way that they don't grow when you want them to reduce in size. So one thing that you should know is that fibroids loves hormones. They love everything about what you love about hormones as well. So hormones make you feel good. Fibroids like them as well. Hormones help you look like a female, helps to keep your curves, helps you to get your energy and all of that. Fibroids loves all the same hormones that you do. And so the hormones we're talking about here are your estrogens and your progesterones. And so what research has shown is that inside of a fibroid, which is usually a hard mass, very similar to this hard mass that I have right here, they're like a rock. So when research has opened up these fibroids and taken a look on the inside, what they found is that there are receptors to estrogens and progesterones everywhere. And actually, there are more receptors inside of your fibroids than there are inside of your uterus around them. And so these masses develop inside of your uterus and essentially create all of these avenues to steal as much hormones from your system as possible. And they use it as food and grow and grow and grow. And so if you find that you are currently pregnant and you have fibroids, it is very important that we monitor them throughout your pregnancy. And the way that we do that is to check with ultrasounds. Ultrasounds are by far the best way for us to view all the changes and things that are happening inside of your pelvis. And so we're able to see a growing pregnancy. We can watch babies grow well, and we can see all your other organs as well. And so ultrasounds are important. When do you get these ultrasounds? Well, it's important for you to get them in the earliest part of pregnancy. Somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks would be ideal. This will tell you if the pregnancy is, one, in the right location, but really it gives you a good picture of what your fibroids look like and excellent measurements of them as well. This is critical because as your pregnancy grows, your hormones will thrive. They will surge. They'll be on peak height. And because of that, your fibroids are likely to grow tremendously because you have a surge of hormones in your system. And so getting an ultrasound in the beginning helps. Getting an ultrasound at the halfway point, which is somewhere around 20 weeks, is mandatory. And getting ultrasounds in the last trimester, that's between 28 and 40 weeks of pregnancy. Getting growth ultrasounds are important so that we know that your baby is growing well, but for us to keep a close eye on those fibroids and whether or not they're growing or possibly impacting or could impact your delivery. All right, so how do we prevent them from growing? We have the facts, we're pregnant, we have fibroids. The first is to make sure that your diet is on par. It's important that you are eating nutrient-dense foods. This means that you're having complex carbs instead of simple carbs. It means that you're having lots of vegetables and your fruits as well. Things with a lot of fiber. Fiber is super, super important, and I'm going to tell you why. Fiber helps to remove excess hormones from your system. And so if your body has an overwhelming amount of estrogens and progesterones and your body's trying to get rid of them, when you have fiber, fiber remains in your GI tract or your colon, your intestines, and it helps to pull all the toxins and waste that your body would like to get rid of, including hormones your body doesn't need, and it traps it amongst itself, holds on to it, and releases it in your stool. And so it's super important that you eat a diet filled with fiber. And now if you're curious to know, well, what should I not eat? Let's talk about it. It's important that you avoid eating a lot of ultra processed foods. So these are things that you can easily get when you're driving and traveling, like fast food. You want to have things that are more whole than they are processed. So instead of frying or having foods that are like white bread versus brown bread, where it's been processed a lot, we want to get as close to raw and as close to natural as possible. I'd also recommend that you have as little sugar as possible. These things will feed your fibroids and help them to grow. So we want to avoid them. In general, plan to or try to have less than 24 grams of sugar per day. That means paying attention to everything that goes in your mouth, everything you drink, everything that you eat, checking the labels and seeing how much sugar is in them and tallying that for the entire day, and to be sure that you're not having more than 24 grams. That includes your coffee, your tea, your lattes, all of that you want to calculate and stay under 24 grams per day. I'd also recommend that you stay away from excessive red meats, okay? There's been research that has shown that red meats, especially when they're not organic, and if they have a lot of marbling and fat, these are elements that bring about a lot of hormones. And so if you're already in a hormonal state and you're adding a lot more hormones from the foods that you're eating, this may overwhelm your system, but really makes your fibroids happy and allows them to grow more than you'd like. So let's try to avoid those things. Another important thing that you can do during pregnancy to help to reduce the likelihood of your fibroids growing is staying active. This can be hard for some of us because fibroids can cause a lot more pain when you're active, but we want you to do whatever you can to keep moving. Movement helps to reduce some of the sugars in your system. It helps to reduce some of the hormones in your system as well. And so it could be walking, swimming. If you're able to still exercise and lift weights in the gym, do so. It could be biking. Just throughout your pregnancy, keep moving, keep active, keep trying to sweat as much as you can, even if you're in your third trimester and you're in the end. And the last thing that I like to mention here is to try to reduce the amount of hormonal influences that might be surrounding you. These are hormones that could impact your system, but they're outside of your body. So for instance, we call these endocrine disruptors. These can be found in the products that you're using, moisturizers that you put on your skin. This could be the furniture that you're sitting on. It's important that we try to lessen the amount of hormones and endocrine disruptors that are around you. You might be wondering, like, Dr. P, I still don't know what you're talking about. Like, it sounds good, but I need more information. And so listen, I promised you a free gift if you hung around today. And this is where I'd love to give this to you now, to help you understand how to remove these disruptors, these hormonal problems around us, and to help us navigate pregnancy, help to decrease the size of fibroids and all of that. I'm offering you my free ebook today, Hormones Don't Lie. And in this, we dive into what these disruptors are, how to remove them, how to eat a diet that will help your fibroids and your hormonal state, and so much more. And so if you'd like a copy of that, please check the link below this video in the description area, and I'll be so happy to send that over to you. Now, if you're just like, I'm okay with that, I just want to know more, listen, thank you for being here and joining us on our channel. We have so many more videos talking about fibroids and how they may impact your pregnancy. And so if you want to know, hang around, or you can leave a comment below today. It's been a pleasure as always. I'm Dr. Perkins, a board certified OBGYN, and I'd love to see you again on the next video. Thank you.